choosing your own greatness, or being a no-limit person, taking charge of your own life. Something I really believe, that you are the sum total of all of the choices that you've made up until now. And anything about yourself or your life that you don't like or isn't working or is immobilizing you is to be looked at in terms of, can I grow? Rather than, why did I do it, or isn't this wrong? See, the two ways to motivate yourself are deficiency motivation, which says, where I am I don't like. I don't like what I've done. I don't like the fact that I can't do this well or I can't do that well. So I will list these things in my own repertoire, and then I will be constantly trying to repair those deficiencies, always assuming that I'm deficient, that there's something wrong with me, and I'm trying to fix it. And when you do that, you spend your whole life doing that. And you never arrive, because your life becomes a series of trying to get someplace else. And it is, if you follow that, if you live that, if you behave that, then what happens to you is you become a person who will always suffer from this disease called more. You always have to have more, because whenever you are getting where you want to go, let's say you want $100,000 in the bank, and you work, and you struggle, and you deny yourself, and you do all of those things, and you finally you get there, and here you are, you got $100,000 in the bank. All of this stuff over here is, of course, your life, and that is all you know. That's what you know how to, that's how you are. That is your being. That is your way of being. So that when you do get here, what you will do is say, this is not enough. A no-limit person is never operating from deficiency or from lack in their life. They're never saying, I don't have enough. You see, you're never going to get enough. You already are everything. You're everything that you need. Think of it for just a moment. Everything that you need to have total bliss, perfection of your life, you already are. You already have it. You came into this world with nothing. That's how you're going out. And the time that you have here, what you have is your uniqueness, your specialness, and you don't need anything else. Now think on this. If you don't know how to appreciate what you have and where you are in your life, you don't need anything else. Because if you do get something else, you won't know how to appreciate that either. You'll just want more. Or you'll want it to be different. Or you'll want it to be the way it used to be. Or you'll want someone else to be the way you think they should be. This is a very crucial concept for me and for virtually all of us. It's this idea of taking your life in your own hands and being the kind of person that you choose to be, and understanding that everything that comes your way is an opportunity, is a blessing. And it wasn't until I learned how to celebrate virtually everything that came my way that I was able to transcend it. You see, everything that was given to us by God, whatever that is perfect. No one can deny the mountains are perfect, and the rivers are perfect, and the birds are perfect, and the hippopotamuses are perfect, and so on. This is just what was given to us. Everything else that you have on our planet, that we have on our planet, comes about as a result of thinking. Thought makes it so. All right? This microphone comes about as a result of thinking. Somebody imagines it. Somebody then tells somebody else about it, and it creates it. The dress that you're wearing, this shirt that I'm, the shoes that you have, the stage, these cameras. Everything that you see that wasn't given to us was created by man as a result of the way that we think, So what gets inside of us as a cell comes about as a result of the way that we choose to think in our lives. Very important principle to understand, because once you get a hold of thinking, and that it creates everything that you have in your life, you can change and make it as absolutely perfect as you want it to be, because thought makes it so.
How do you become supernatural? You got to start doing what's unnatural. When there's a crisis and everybody is in lack, that's the time to give. When everybody else is in fear, that's the time to demonstrate courage. When everybody else is hostile and judging, that's the time to show compassion. And if we can continuously do over and over again what is so unnatural, sooner or later will become supernatural. Wouldn't you agree? So then if you're working on your anger and your frustration, and I'm working on my fear and my anxiety and my judgment, and I'm taking care of me and you're taking care of you, then everybody was doing that, we would sooner or later start to see some change in the world, yes? So then we have to begin to start somewhere. And the place we start then is looking within and beginning to look at some of those emotions that keep us anchored to the past, that literally begin to break us down. And if a person can move into an elevated state of being every day, and they understand that they're signaling new genes just by doing that, just by doing it. If you have that understanding, you will produce greater results. If a group of elderly men can retreat from their life for 5 days and go to a retreat center north of Boston, all these men in their 70s and 80s, and they were told to act like they were 22 years younger. Just pretend. And they had, magazines with Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe movies, and, and they had papers with current events. And for 5 days, they hung out with other men, and they just pretended like they were 22 years younger. They took height measurements, weight measurements, range of motion measurements, finger length measurements, extremity measurements, and cognitive tests. At the end of 5 days, guess what? 60% better scores on cognition. Finger lengths, all of them longer. Range of motion, all improved. Some of them were playing touch football again without their canes. Who are you pretending to be? Because if you can begin to understand that when you begin to change your state of being, that a thought begins to activate new neural networks in your brain. New neural networks in your brain begin to fire and wire to create a hologram or a picture. That hologram or picture signals the limbic brain to make neuropeptides. And neuropeptides are chemical messengers that signal hormones. And hormones and neuropeptides begin to dock on receptor sites of cells. And cells begin to get a new message and signal new genes. And new genes make new proteins. And new proteins means the expression of life. And the expression of life is equal to the health of your body, just by changing a thought. So then, if you woke up every morning and you pretended to be genius of the universe, unlimited mind, healthy, you would probably have to stop on the side of the road with your pen and write down the download that you were getting from the field, because you never thought in that way. And so you and I have been hypnotized and conditioned into believing that we need a reason for joy, that we need a reason to give thanks, we need a reason to feel inspired. That's the old model of reality, of Newtonian physics, of cause and effect. Wait for something outside of you to change how you feel inside of you. And the moment you feel better inside of you, you pay attention to who caused it outside of you. And that event's called a memory. That's cause and effect. Quantum model of reality, as Greg said, is about causing an effect. Begin to change how you think and feel, broadcast a whole new electromagnetic signature, and give thanks before the event is made manifest. Materialists would never do that, but the quantum mind, the immaterialist, always does that, because the moment you begin to observe a new future, that's called intention, with an elevated energy, you are causing infinite waves of possibility to begin to collapse into new patterns of information called your life. But if you're observing your life from the same level of mind every day, and you begin to anticipate the next experience based on your past, I'm curious, Tell me where the unknown is going to show up in your life. Is there any room for that? It would just be too inconvenient. So this is a time in history where we have to meet these challenges with a greater level of mind. And we can't keep doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts, performing the same actions, and living by the same emotions and secretly expecting our life to change. We have to meet all of these challenges, and we have to be the heroes and the heroines that begin to leave a legacy in this particular time. There's a stigma that you and I have been conditioned into believing that all leaders get it in the end. Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, William Wallace, Joan of Arc, they all got it in the end. It's a subconscious conditioning that leaders somehow pay the price with their life. You ever see a group of birds that all move in the same direction? You ever see the fish that all swim in the same? If you study that phenomenon in biology, that's called emergence. You would think that there's a leader, like it's a top-down phenomenon. Turns out there's no leader. It's a bottom-up phenomenon. Everybody is leading. There's one mind, one consciousness. So you can't take out all leaders if everybody's leading now, could you? So this is a time in history where emergence is the model, that we have to lead by example. And all of this information is to empower you to understand that it's possible.